Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm ready to share my final thoughts on the Sony Xperia Z5. Now those of you who follow me on YouTube, you must have seen several videos over the past few weeks. Ever since I had the Z5, I've been posting dedicated videos on battery performance, on gaming, on heating, on camera, on build quality. I've almost discussed everything about the phone. So the question is, when I've made so many videos, why should I be doing a final verdict? Well, in this style, slightly different from my normal final verdicts and reviews, I think I'll be answering some important questions which often people ask me when they want to buy one phone over the other. So in this final verdict, I will answer your questions including: J, should I buy the OnePlus 2 instead of this Xperia Z5? Or J, should I buy the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge over the Xperia Z5? Or should I get the LG G4 instead of the Xperia Z5? This is a question which get often asked on my videos many times, so I thought let's do this this time slightly differently, and instead of me giving all that data that I've been collecting over the last few weeks, including all the videos, I might as well just answer the questions instead. Okay, the first question would be, Jay, if I had a OnePlus 2, should I go for this or should I go for the Xperia Z5? Well, if you were to be honest, both these phones have Snapdragon 810 along with 3 gig of RAM on the Xperia Z5 and 4 gigs of RAM on the OnePlus 2. The OnePlus 2 costs you £289 and you're getting 64 gig along with 4 gigs of RAM with the Snapdragon 810. You're also getting the same Snapdragon 810 in the Xperia Z5, but you're getting 3 gigs of RAM. So as far as the basic core performance is concerned, I don't think so you will find any difference. Z5 in fact at times feels slightly quicker than the OnePlus 2, and that is not down to the hardware that's inside, it's down to the software optimization. Sony's software is much more accomplished, much more neat, and much more easy to play with, whereas on the Oxygen OS it's more of a naked vanilla version, and still they need to work a lot on it before they can reach the speeds which other competitive flagship phones have, including also the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, which had RAM issues initially, but now these issues have been solved, and the S6 Edge seems to be running very fine with no RAM management issues and doing very well. As far as the RAM management issues are concerned, to the performance, there are no issues, but still the RAM management issues, considering that when you open multiple apps and they close up, yes, you can't open more than 2 or 3 apps and they will eventually close. In fact, S6 Edge is the worst when it comes to multitasking and also RAM management issues. But then again, most of us will probably be opening 2 or 3 or maximum apps anyway, so it won't be a problem for most of the consumers. So the question is, Jay, should I buy the OnePlus 2 over the Z5? Should I buy the S6 Edge over the Z5? Or should I buy the LG G4 over Z5? Now this is a question which gets asked many times on different phones. Which one would you prefer? So that's why in this verdict I will rather be giving you a straight answer as if to which should be your preference, whatever you like in the phone. Now let's first of all discuss the LG G4 before we get onto the other phone, because this is a phone which has been highly praised by reviewers and myself alike on the internet many times. I've had this phone for over 7 months now, and I've been posting many videos over the last few months. To me personally, LG G4 is a very good phone. It has the Snapdragon 808 with the octa-core chipset and 3 gigs of RAM with a 16 megapixel camera at the back, as you can see, and also has a laser autofocus, as compared to the Sony Xperia Z5, which has a 23 megapixel camera along with a single LED flash. Now if camera is your priority, I would say they're both almost on par with each other, but I would give a slight bit of edge to the LG G4 because it has the aperture f1.8 aperture, which is the best in the market available so far. Even on the Galaxy S6 Edge, when it comes to camera, this phone has a 1.9 aperture, whereas the LG G4 has the 1.8 aperture. So camera wise, I would say LG G4 is definitely among the best, and if camera is your priority, I would say go for the LG G4. Now often people ask me, what about the front camera, the selfie camera? The selfie camera on the LG G4, guys, is 8 megapixel, and it's a very powerful camera. So if you're into selfies, then I would say strongly go with the LG G4. In the selfie department, the front camera, it definitely beats the Sony Xperia Z5. The Z5 has 5 megapixel at the front, so guys, it is not in the same league, even though it will still take decent photos. But if you are into selfie special bit where some people just like selfie, they're selfie crazy, then I would say go for the LG G4. Now when it comes to overall flexibility, guys, you cannot change the battery on the Z5, whereas you can change the battery on the LG G4. As you guys know, LG G4 has a replaceable back, and you can remove that back and you can replace the battery. Say in 2 years time your battery goes down, you can always buy a new battery and you can put that on your LG G4. So it's a very, very flexible phone. It also comes with an SD card expandability as well, and plus these covers are also replaceable. You have so many different colors in leather which you can put on the LG G4. On the Sony Xperia Z5, unfortunately you cannot remove the back. However, you have the option of expanding memory, and this can take up to 128 gig of memory, I think, if I remember correctly. We keep on reading in stats 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte. I don't know how far that is true though, but one thing is for sure, that you can put up to 128 gig of memory card in the Xperia Z5, but you cannot remove the battery, unfortunately. When it comes to the added advantage over the G4, this phone obviously has a fingerprint scanner. As you guys know, it's embedded in the power button, so if you are a fingerprint scanner fanatic, then I would say you should go for the Z5, because the LG G4 hasn't got no fingerprint scanner. The LG V10, which is the newer version of the LG G4, the souped up version of the G4, that has a fingerprint scanner built in at the back in the power button in the newer phone. But on the LG G4, unfortunately, you have no fingerprint scanner. Speaker on the G4 is very, very loud. It's very comparable to the Z5, so I would say music wise both phones are good, but the LG G4 speaker is slightly louder. Despite being at the back of the phone, it's slightly louder than the front facing speakers of the Xperia Z5, so not too bad. So overall, which phone should you go for? I would say if waterproofing is your priority, like the Sony phone is IP rated, it's also dust proof as well. If that's something you care about, then you could go for the Z5. But remember, Z5 is an extremely slippery phone. I've mentioned this many times in my reviews before. The Z5 is a very, very slippery phone, so make sure you put a case on it before you buy this phone. But in terms of overall one hand feel, I think the LG G4 has a better screen to body ratio. It's a 5.5 inch screen phone, and despite having a bigger screen than the Z5, you can see they're almost of the same size, which is amazing. This is where, in fact, the LG G4 is smaller than the Z5 from what I can see. Maybe slightly, or maybe the same size. Obviously my hands are shaking, so I can't really see, but from what I can see, I think they're almost the same size, and this phone has a 5.5 inch screen. So if you're looking for a big screen in a small body, then LG G4 should be a priority. Also, if camera is your priority, I would go for the LG G4. If you're gonna go for Sony, then your craze should be about more megapixels, even though the pictures might not be as good as on the G4, but still very competitive. Now, one thing also in which the Z5 beats the G4 is the video quality. I've been very impressed with the video quality, guys. I will leave the video links down below, and you will see Z5's camera, as far as video is concerned, is simply outstanding and beats the video on the LG G4 hands down. On the LG G4, the video is a bit wobbly around the edges, which you have often seen in my video samples on my channel, and the phone, for some reason, after getting several OTA updates, hasn't been able to solve the problem of the video bit for some reason. So video wise, I would say the Z5 is better. I know I'm discussing lots of points and you must be thinking, but I think in short, I would say if camera and taking pictures is your priority, and you want a phone which has bigger screen but smaller form factor and is not slippery and you can live without a case, then this is the phone to go for, and you will also enjoy the music. But if you're looking for an IP rated phone which you can take underwater, and you want a camera which can shoot good videos, and you're not too much bothered about photos, even though the Z5 takes decent photos, then I would say go for the Z5. But make sure that you put case on it, because this phone is very, very slippery, and you also have the added fingerprint scanner in there as well. If you want a fingerprint scanner phone, then go for the Z5. Okay, now let's compare the Z5 with the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Now, should you get the S6 Edge or should you get the Z5? Very close, guys. Both phones are exceptional and very nice. Both have fingerprint scanner. As you know, Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge also has a fingerprint scanner, and the Sony phone also has a fingerprint scanner. Now, when it comes to which fingerprint scanner is more accurate, I would say the Sony one is more accurate, even though the Samsung one is fine as well, but it just takes too long. Let me give you a demo. I think the phone is on already. Yeah, I think, no, it's not, sorry, I think the phone is off. I will switch it on anyway, and I will show you in just a minute. On the S6 Edge, guys, the fingerprint scanner is pretty nice, pretty fast as well, and it doesn't take long. You put your thumb up, boom, and it takes about just a couple of seconds, and it opens up straight away. On the Z5, it's much more responsive than the one on the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, but this fingerprint scanner has improved a lot. It was terrible when the phone came out new, and people had lots of issues recognizing the fingerprint, but over the last few months, Samsung phone had quite a few updates and has been able to fix that issue now. On the Z5, the fingerprint scanner is pretty fast, guys. Once the phone boots up, I will show you. Whilst we do that, let's quickly discuss why would you prefer the S6 Edge Edge over the Z5. You would prefer the S6 Edge over the Z5 if you are in love with the Samsung screen. The Super AMOLED screens are simply awesome, and they have the most accurate and best colors, and you simply can't beat that. The S6 Edge also has no SD card expandability and comes with standard 32 gig of memory, internal memory, so you will not be able to obviously expand the memory, whereas on the Z5 it's more versatile and it's got the SD card expandability as well, and also it comes with 32 gig memory built in at the same time, which is obviously an added bonus. So if you're looking for more space, you should be going for the Sony phone. If you're looking for a good camera, I think Samsung camera beats the Z5 by quite a margin, to be honest, in my experience. Some people might not agree to it, but I think the camera on the S6 Edge is really nice. In fact, this is the only camera which can compete with the LG G4 and no other camera. So Z5's camera is, I think, good. It was a bit too much hyped up, I guess. The video side was very good, but the photo side is not as impressive, and still the post-processing algorithm needs a bit of work, whereas on the S6 Edge the camera is really nice, screen is better, and it's also a smaller phone in hand. So if you put your one hand on the S6 Edge, it's so easy and light to handle in the hand, and it's got this nice metal frame. Despite having a metal frame, the phone is not slippery at all, which I absolutely love. So not too bad here. Whereas on the S6, on the Xperia Z5, guys, the camera is a bit too the phone is a bit too big, and the bezels on top and bezels on bottom doesn't help the cause as well, so it makes your life at times a bit difficult when it comes to handling the phone with one hand. So if you're the sort of person who wants to have a phone easy in the hand, then the S6 Edge should be a preference. Camera wise, S6 Edge should be a preference. But if it comes to video quality, the Z5 can equally compete with the S6 Edge in video wise. But if as far as the fingerprint scanner is concerned, guys, you just saw me opening it up. It's very quick. So what you do is you put your thumb just like that, and boom, within a second it opens up, and you can see it's pretty fast as compared to the S6 Edge. So overall, I would say both phones are good, and they both have their own preferences. If you want to go for a better screen, better camera, and easier form factor, go for the S6 Edge. If you want a good video phone, you want IP rated, you want faster fingerprint scanner, and slightly bigger phone with front-facing speakers, then go for the Z5. The speaker on the S6 Edge is also very nice, very strong, and I've done a few tests on my other videos, so please check it out. It's a very strong speaker as far as I'm concerned. Okay, now quickly also discuss it with the OnePlus 2, guys. The OnePlus 2 is also a very accomplished phone this year, as you know. Camera wise, I would say the Z5 beats the OnePlus 2. The OnePlus 2's camera is very nice, not too bad, but I think it cannot beat the 23 megapixel strong powerful camera, whether it's video or photos. Both wise, the OnePlus 2 is probably beaten, even though the pictures and videos are of decent quality, not too bad actually, but the Z5 is definitely superior to OnePlus 2's optics, both in video and also in photos as well. But when it comes to the overall form factor, I would give this one to the OnePlus 2, because despite having a metal frame, it's got the sandstone back, and it's so easier to hold in the hand as well. And Sony phone keeps on slipping out of my hands, guys. I've been telling you in the past couple of videos, please get a case on it. For most people, it won't be a problem. Once you get a case, you should be okay with the phone, but please make sure you do. If you're the sort of person who don't like to put cases on your phone, then Z5 is not the phone you should go for. Now when it comes to memory, this phone comes with 64 gig with only a price tag of £289, which is not too bad. Sony phone is a bit expensive, will cost you over £400, and you get the memory SD card obviously along with 32 gig of memory. So memory for most people, either get this or that, won't be a problem, because they are giving you OnePlus to giving you 64 gig of memory at a ridiculously cheap price. So it's also a bargain in my opinion. I like this toggle switch on the OnePlus 2. You can put the phone on silent, or you can put the phone on, there are 3 different profiles on it. You can put the phone on silent, normal, or regular profile mode, which is very nice. I like that a lot actually. So this toggle switch is an added bonus which none of these phones have got. So if you're the sort of person who wants to put the phone on silent a lot of times, and you don't want people disturbing you, then the OnePlus 2's toggle switch will really help you a lot in your day-to-day life. It helps me a lot when I'm not in the mood to attend phone calls, guys. Fingerprint scanner on the OnePlus 2 is not as accurate, guys, as the one on the Sony Xperia Z5. It still works though, but I think the Sony Xperia Z5 fingerprint scanner is too fast and too quick, even for the likes of OnePlus 2. And so far, most phone that I've tested, I think Xperia Z5 has come on top most of the times. This fingerprint scanner is really nice, very effective, and very accurate at the same time. So you seriously can't beat that. So the question is, would you get OnePlus 2? If you want something like OnePlus 2, if you want a big phone, for instance, and you want regular OTA updates, OnePlus 2 are actually sending Oxygen OS as a new version of software, and they're sending regular OTA updates. If that's what you want, then OnePlus 2 is your phone. If you want a big phone which shouldn't slip out of your hands, then OnePlus 2 is your phone. But if you want a big phone which has good strong camera, IP rated, SD card memory expandability, and a good world-class camera, then the Xperia Z5 should be a preference. In most cases, I think most people would prefer Z5 if they had the money. If they didn't have the money and they wanted to buy something cheap, this phone has obviously got 4 gig of RAM, an extra gig of RAM. Then OnePlus 2 has plenty of power in it to compete with the Z5. So, and I hope with more OT updates, the OnePlus 2's Oxygen OS will get even much better with time. But I personally love the OnePlus 2 because the kind of money that you pay is ridiculous, and what you're getting for is just outstanding and simply unbeatable. So value for money, go for OnePlus 2. If you have the extra cash, go with the Z5. Battery wise, I haven't discussed battery of any of the phones, guys, but Z5's battery life has been just, I would say, mid-range. Sometimes it will give you 4 hours, sometimes it gives you 4.5 hours, so it's a bit of topsy-turvy. Whereas the OnePlus 2 battery life is outstanding. With the recent OTA update, it has been able to give me 5 hours, maybe more. In some cases, people are even reporting 6 hours of screen on time. So keep that in mind. Battery-wise, OnePlus 2 is better. Now, battery-wise, LG G4 or battery-wise, Z5, I would say pretty much the same. They both give around 4 to 4.5 hours, so this is a tie. When it comes to the S6 Edge, I would say the S6 Edge has the best battery life among all these phones. Maybe this is on par with the OnePlus 2, to be honest. With the latest OT update, the OnePlus 2 and the S6 Edge have the same battery now. But battery wise, if you were to pick from S6 Edge or Sony, I would still go for the S6 Edge. This has a better battery life. So guys, this was a quick comparison between all these phones, and the question answer that often, Jay, should I go for the S6 Edge? Should I go for the Z5? Should I go for the LG G4? Should I go for the Z5? Or should I go for the OnePlus 2? Or should I go for the Z5? I will explain you guys in detail. In the end of the day, the verdict on as far as I'm concerned, it's a solid phone made by Sony with a decent battery life, if not the best. A very good camera, especially when it comes to video. Picture taking is nice as well, not too bad. It will get the job done, and it's got a very strong camera. Don't get me wrong. When I say the camera is not as good as the S6 Edge or the LG G4, I'm being very critical. Online reviews might disagree with my verdict here, but I still think they need to work on post-processing algorithms, which are far better on the S6 Edge and the LG G4. But overall, solid phone, fast fingerprint scanner, decent battery life. I love the camera button, this two-stage camera button, so you can use this as a photo phone. It'll be very easy instead of you tapping on the screen. And fast fingerprint scanner, super fast charging here as well, and the USB lanyard here, and overall a nice, sexy design. But I think it's coming to a point where I'm getting a bit fed up with the design, because this has been going on for the past few years, and I think Sony need to change their design methodology. All this rectangular slab kind of, I think, a form factor, people are getting bored of it now, and we definitely need a new change. So guys, this was a quick comparison between the Z5 and all other phones, and why would you prefer one over the other. But all in all, at the end of the day, Z5 is a solid phone. It's not too bad actually, and all these phones are good as well. All these 4 phones are top of the range phones, guys, and buying any of them, you will be a happy bunny, no question about it. Like always, guys, please give it a thumbs up if you like my video. It was a different kind of video, guys, not like usual stuff that I only give you verdicts and stats and all that. It was more of a question answer session for the Z5, because I've told you everything about the Z5 already in my previous videos. And guys, please subscribe to my channel as it helps, and I'm sure you must have plenty of questions. Please feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I will make sure that I reply to every single one of you out there, because I know answering questions is something you guys love. Alright guys, that's the end of it, and I will see you in the next video.